Hey everybody, as you come into the masterclass, feel free to drop an emoji, let me know that you're here. Super excited for this masterclass. There's so much to share. Hello Irene, welcome. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. As everyone makes it in, feel free to go ahead and start asking any questions that you have about promoting, about publishing your card deck, and I'll make note of them so that way we can cover them also during this masterclass. Excellent. Welcome everyone. We're going to get started in just a moment. Hello. Great. Okay, awesome. And I'm just going to make sure that this is inside the group. And then we'll get started. Okay. Yay, Verlicia is here. Hello, welcome. Okay, excellent. Hello. Please feel free to go ahead and type any questions that you have off the top of your head about publishing or promoting your card deck, because that's what we're going to cover here today, and we've got a lot to cover, so we are going to start soon. And I see people are coming in. How perfect. Okay, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell a story because I've got a really good one. When I first started publishing my card decks, there was a period of time where I was just really humbled by that process. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna design this thing, everybody's gonna love it, they're gonna want it, they're gonna be reaching out to me. And I had to wake up because I had ordered a whole shipment of cards and they were just sitting there. I was like, okay, you know, like I did all the things in terms of the design, in terms of the concept, in terms of having the brand be super seamless and shiny. And then I ordered my cards and they came in and they just sat there. Hey, Kristen, welcome. Good to see you. If you have any questions that are coming to you about promoting or publishing process, feel free to go ahead and type them in the chat. I'm just telling the story about this large inventory that I had. So at that time, I felt like I had the freedom to do whatever it is that I needed to do in order to get my card deck out there. So I started to do a lot of experimenting. And let me tell you, that inventory went from my living room to the trunk of my car, and then it got moved to storage until I figured out what it was that needed to happen to actually get that deck design out there so that people can hear about it, know about it, purchase it, love it, and leave these raving testimonials. Because, like, that's the dream, right? We want people to actually buy it. Yes, it can be enough to design it and to gift it, or to design it and use it. Like maybe you just want to make a deck that is only for personal use, or something that you only use with your clients, or maybe just a deck that stays within your family. That's really cool too. And also I understand that there is a lot of opportunity out there to have your deck design discovered so that you can create relationships and so that you can pursue opportunities that really will propel your design out into the world and get it into people's hands that really want it. One of the things that we had talked about when in the deck design mini course and the deck design course is that we want to envision what it's like for someone to use it. So like I said, it's totally okay if you want that deck to stay within a small population, but if you want it to soar and you really want a lot of people to find it and to buy it and to love it, there are things that we can do, right? And that's what we're gonna talk about today. So again, if you're just joining us, feel free to type any questions that you may have about the promoting or the publishing process for your card deck into the chat, and I would be so happy to get to it during our masterclass today. Awesome. And feel free to drop an emoji just to say hey, so that I know that you're here and that we are alive and really kicking up this masterclass, because this is really important. We're talking about people's dreams here. It was the dream of whoever to create the tarot deck or the oracle deck or the affirmation card deck or what the playing card deck that you use. It was someone's dream to create that, and somehow it got into your hand. And there's a journey that we're going to discover today about that. All right, so enough about that. I want to also touch on the point that yes, it was someone's dream to have it in your hands, but also that deck is not just a dream. That deck is also a brand. And that brand surrounding that deck is also a legacy. You're leaving a legacy by getting your card deck into the hands of other people. You're impacting their lives. People use decks oftentimes on a daily basis. When they interface with your deck, you're affecting their life, and you're becoming a part of their rituals every day that they're using it. Thank you for that question, Kristen. I see you, and I'm totally going to get to that. Feel free to ask any other questions that you have. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about who I am so that you know how it is that I can even talk about all of this. So along with being a deck designer for life, I'm in there for life, I'm also a former celebrity publicist. That was my corporate job before I went woo-woo. I've worked with numerous A-list celebrities, and it was my job not only to get brands into the hands of those celebrities for endorsements, for photo opportunities, but also I managed the brands of those A-list celebrities, which meant that I managed their legacies. I managed the legacy of many well-known athletes that you've probably heard of, movie stars, and entertainers. That's all well and good, but what does that mean for you, right? When you think about your deck, you don't want it to be a one and done. Felicia, I see your question. Thank you so much. I will absolutely answer. Excellent. When you think about your deck, you don't want it to be a one and done. Like, oh, okay, I designed it and I got it out to, a couple of people, and, sales are looking pretty good right now. And, I'm not thinking about what's going to happen in a month or 2 or a year or 5 from now. Sometimes the deck flops. It happens. And that's that inventory story that I was telling you earlier. Shuffling the inventory around. And oftentimes, some designers say, oh, I'll just make another one. And another one. Or I'll make a better one. And maybe it just needed a different theme, so that way people will relate to it better, or they can find it better, and I'll give it this better name and make a second edition and add all of these frills, and you can go on and on and on and on. But publicizing your deck, it can become something that you say that you'll get to, but you never do. And you just keep spinning the wheels of going on and on about how it could have been better, about how you could have done things differently. But there are things that you can do right now. You don't have to make another one. You can make this one amazing. And then you can make another one amazing after that. So when we say, okay, you know, there's these things that I want to do that I think that can make this deck better so that it gets seen, and the publicity becomes something that you never do, oftentimes it's because you just don't know how. And that is okay. Please drop an emoji if you're just not aware how to get it out. Drop a heart, drop a smiley face, drop a star. I just want to know that you're relating to this, because that's why we're here. Thank you. I see the hearts. So today we're going to talk about how you can apply all of those amazing things that go on out in the world of publicity to your deck. Because I don't know if you know this, but you're officially a product creator. Like, you are creating a product. And if you've already made it, you have manufactured, designed a product. That's huge. Yes, Verlicia. Yes, Kristen. You are product creators. So this is about the time where we want to start to get the pen ready and the paper or the keyboard ready to take some notes, because we can think about things in a really creative way that can start to give us some hints about how it is that we can stand behind our card deck creation. So, since you are becoming, or currently, officially the creator of a product, this means that you have access to being promoted the same way that other products do. So look in your house. Look at your favorite products. The things that you use every day. Whether it's the lotion for your face. Maybe it's your favorite candles. Or water bottles, as I take a sip. How did you hear about them? How did you hear about those products? Where were they featured? How did that product get into your hand? There's good news. When you start to think about your deck as a product and as a brand, and you look at the products and brands that are already in your possession, now you're starting to create an avatar, and that avatar is you. Oftentimes, you may have created your deck for you and the rest of the world. So you can start using yourself as an example to discover the ways that you come across products that you really like. So here's an example. Actually, you know what? Go ahead and type some products in the chat. Some products that you use every day. And we'll use those as an example. And I'll show you how those products can gift you ideas for how to go about promoting and publishing your deck. So just drop the name of a product that you use every day, because a deck is something that people use every day. So what's a product that you use every day? And I'll use that as an example. And then we'll continue the exploration. However those products got into your hands, that's how your deck can get into other people's hands. And we're going to keep looking at it with that lens. Perfect. Verlicia said shea butter. I think I've got some too. Oh, that's cocoa butter. So let's say that you've got this really awesome, cool, artisanal shea butter. Where did you find it? How did you come across it? Mine, I found it on Amazon. Did you know that you can have your deck on Amazon? Sometimes it's that simple. What does it take to get on Amazon? That's another story. And it's not as hard as one may think. But that's one example. Kristen says, markers from Michael's. Yes. Markers you find at a retail store like Michael's. Your deck can be in a retail store. We call that wholesaling. You can wholesale your deck and have it featured in a retailer. Again, the process that you can go about doing that it's a process. And there is absolutely knowledge that's needed in order to have that happen for you. But it's not impossible. Actually, it's very accessible, both of those things. Amazon and also having your deck featured in a retail store. So those are two ways that we were gifted just by these comments of common items that we use every day. So keep looking around at the things that you use, at the things that you love. They have a gift for you. Ooh, Gina says earrings at a local gallery. That is an excellent way to put on your creative thinking hat. Did you know that your card deck design can also be a mounted print? Why not have your design at a gallery? Now, these are things that I just probably wouldn't think of, and that's okay. It comes out once we start to think about the deck as a product. We start thinking about it as a brand, and we understand that it has the same potential as all of these other things. The more products you put in here, the more opportunities you're going to give yourself. Isn't that awesome? Just looking at things a little bit differently can change the game entirely. So I challenge you to do that. And of course, as always, I challenge you to share what you find in the group. Why? Because sharing is, it's caring, but it's also thriving. Imagine the person who you've impacted by sharing the information that you come across. So we're impacting people with our decks, and we have community to impact each other. Thank you so much, Gina and Kristen and Verlicia, for sharing those awesome examples, because you just opened up 3 worlds for your decks to live in just by sharing here. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some tactical information that you can start to implement today to get your deck out there. And I understand if you're still designing and you're taking notes for when you're done, and also if maybe you haven't even thought of your concept yet, but you know that you definitely want to create a deck and you want to get it out there for other people to enjoy and to use. And again, if you just want to keep your deck to a small community, then maybe this masterclass is not for you, and that's okay too. Awesome. Okay, so one way that you can start to have your card deck gain some traction and be seen by people is by having it done, having a deck review done. So what's a deck review? Did you know that there are YouTubers out there with thousands of followers who would love to review your deck? And what they do is that usually it's called an unboxing. So that's something that you can YouTube right now, unboxing. And you'll find all of these different decks that are being reviewed. Have a look at them. Look at what the reviewer does. The reviewer receives your deck in the mail. They show them opening up the package, opening up the box, taking out the cards. Oftentimes, they like to show the actual packaging. Why? Because we put a lot of effort and care and attention into it. So I think that it's great that they do it that way. They really showcase the hard work that we put into this deck that we're sending them, right? So they take their time, they look at it, they open it, they savor the experience, and they talk about it. And this is what is really valuable. We, as deck creators, can talk about our deck from here until the cows come home. I don't know where that phrase came from, but I like it. We can talk about our card deck all day long. But you know what's really powerful? When someone else talks about it. It's just like anything else. Just like with the earrings that Gina was talking about. Suppose that she went to see a vendor and that vendor was like, yes, here are these earrings that I made. They're totally awesome. They are like super cool and made from all of these sustainable products, yada, 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 yada. Imagine how that impacts you. And then envision Gina saying, oh, wow, did you see these earrings that I got at a local gallery? They're so awesome. They make me feel powerful and connected. So when people talk about your deck, it gives it this other dimension of impactfulness. I think that's a word. Hi, Em. Thank you for making it. So happy that you're here. Hello, hello. When you have someone else talk about your deck, it is so powerful. And when you reach out to someone who reviews decks, someone who has this following of people who they know them to be a deck reviewer, you've just hit thousands of potential customers in one shot. How valuable is that? Super valuable, right? Kristen says some people use an app, TikTok, to show other people. Yeah, totally. There's TikTokers out there too that do it. Just understand that what you're doing is that you're magnifying your audience by leveraging what someone else loves to do. And it's not like you're burdening them. Oh, please, please, please review my deck. No, this is what they do already. This is what they love to do. They love to review decks. That's why they do it. All you're doing is noticing the opportunity and leveraging it for your amazing creation. So there may be some blanks that we get to fill in here. Like you might be wondering what to say or how to get in touch with them. Like especially if they're on YouTube, right? Then you probably don't have access to their email address or know exactly what to say in order to not sound creepy. Like, what's your address? I want to send you my deck. Like there is an etiquette to it, and we'll talk about that. But just keep in mind here that this is a resource that's for you. It's already set up for you and out there and ready for you to take advantage of. Don't mind the sounds of construction going on. It's like impeccable timing. Also, we'll talk about a little bit the power of referrals. There are things that you can do that will encourage people to refer your deck. We'll talk about what they are afterwards, because word of mouth referrals from one person who has your deck to other people is also very powerful too. Not just the influencers, but every single person who owns your deck can become an influencer for you. You're essentially building a team. Yeah. Okay, here we go. I'll start to give some examples now of what we're talking about with being in touch with influencers. So when you reach out to an influencer who's on YouTube, and just like Kristen did, she mentioned TikTok is another place that she's seen deck reviewers. If you know of another channel, another place that you've seen deck reviewers, go ahead and type it in the chat. Let's really get present to all of the resources that are available to you. So go ahead and do that. And what I'm going to do is turn on the light because it's getting a little dark in here. BRB. Okay, perfect. Got it. So TikTok, YouTube are the resources that we've got so far. I know that there's more, and if you're able to name them, we'll talk about them here in the chat. Just let me know that you know about them. Okay. So when you reach out to a deck designer, you want to actually look at the videos that are on their channel before you decide that you want to reach out to them. Oftentimes, Kristen says, I also see it on Instagram. Yes, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Gina says Facebook and Instagram. You've got 4 places where you can find tons of deck reviewers. I encourage you to go out there and have a look. M says, don't know for sure, but maybe Pinterest. That's another great one. Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got 5. Facebook, IG, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest. Whew. I can feel all of the press already. all of the nice mentions and deck reviews that you guys are going to get for sharing resources here. Like, just makes me excited. That's what we do in community. Thank you, thank you, thank you, each of you, for sharing the ones that you found. So when you're reaching out to them, you actually want to look at the reviews that they've done. For a couple of reasons. I've seen some deck reviewers out there who are kind of harsh critics. And that's totally cool. It's just their style, you know? Sometimes they do it with a little flair of humor. But you do want to have a look at their style of review and make sure that that resonates with you. Here's an example of a deck reviewer that I worked with. You can find her on YouTube. Her name is on YouTube. It's V Loves Crystals. And she does deck reviews, but she does deck reviews of a particular kind. Now, at that time, I had a couple of decks that I had published, and I was like, which one do I send to her? And it became very apparent, but only after I started watching some of her videos. What I found out from watching her videos is that she also had another YouTube channel where she does everything about the 80s. Like, she talks about 80s movies, she talks about 80s like retro stuff and collectibles. And that said to me, duh, Kai, send her the I Love the 80s tarot deck that you made. And that had that connection, you know, really be super powerful, because it was something that spoke to her and it spoke to her audience. And that was by me getting really present to what she was already doing. I didn't look at her, you know, number of subscribers and be like, oh, yeah, she has a lot of subscribers, so that's all the information that I need. No, I got to know her. I got to know her and her style and what her flavor is, and that she's really playful when she does deck reviews. And I found out that she likes to do flip throughs. That just means flipping through one card at a time. And it brought me so much joy to see that when she did the flip through for my deck, that she went through, she commented on each one of them. It was like a trivia game for her. She's like, oh, you know, like enjoying all of the images. But that was because I made a really conscious decision. I didn't just, you know, go in with me in mind. I went in with her in mind and her audience in mind and the impact that I wanted to make in mind. And that's, again, where we get to shift our perspective just a little bit. Instead of looking at these opportunities from what can I get from it, look at it to how can they be meaningfully impacted. How can I serve their community and them? That's where the gold starts to come through. And this is where we get the content for the outreach that we're going to make to these reviewers. When you reach out to them, you can wholeheartedly say, hi, I love what you do, because you've actually watched it. Or you can be super authentic and be like, hi, I think that you are an amazing and critical reviewer, and I'm gonna send you my deck in hopes that yada yada yada. But the point is that you start with transparency and authenticity. Pardon the noise. Start with understanding that you're also reaching out to a human being. They may have a lot going on. What is going to make your outreach stand out? I know that's like so cliche, like, oh, how do I stand out? But this is a way to stand out. You stand out by coming from a place that you've done the research, you've done your due diligence, and you're very aware of, one, what you want, and two, the impact that you want to make, and three, how you want to make it. And that's by serving them and their community. Kristen says, this is what to do with my decks, because everyone is different. Everyone is different. Exactly, Kristen. One deck reviewer is not like the next. As a matter of fact, there was one mistake that I made, and I'll share that with you too. I sent my deck to a deck reviewer, and I just hadn't seen the video where she had said this. But apparently she doesn't like those little like crinkly things. You know how you can like put really cool like colorful crinkly paper in your packaging so that it's like styrofoam peanuts but better? In one of her videos she said how she hates that. And I sent her a deck that had so much crinkly paper in there because I love it. And I didn't know that she hated it. And what happened is that she did a video review and she did the unboxing and she said, I hate this stuff. And you know what I did? I said, okay, I did my best. And I just happened to not know that. So it's not that it was like a trash, review. It's just that I didn't know. And the rest of the review was great. So I had to come to a place of humility, forgiveness, to myself for making that mistake and realized that the rest of the review was amazing. I still shared it. I still share it. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone is entitled to their preferences. So maybe if there's something that a deck reviewer says that's unfavorable, use it as a point of learning. You can learn from that. So I've learned that when I reach out to reviewers, I ask them, how would you like to receive this? Is there anything in particular that you love or that you don't? And that saved me a lot of heartache after that. But it was the fact that I took the perspective of learning from it rather than just immediately being super disheartened and not even thinking about that opportunity to get more information at all. Awesome. One other example is that there was a reviewer that I worked with who resides in Spain, and she requested a particular deck of mine. I believe it was the I Love the 80s deck. And I had to think for a minute if that was culturally appropriate for her and her community. So I went, I had a look at her reviews and, the way that she interacted with her audience. I took a look at the other types of decks that she reviewed so that I could understand, and also I could be really confident when I reached out to her that this would be a good deck for her. I also asked her, are you sure? Because a lot of the references, a lot of the cultural references in that deck are very American. And I didn't know if they had a lot of those things in Spain, or if she would get, the different ways that I was making some inside jokes by some of the references and the images on the deck. So all in all, communication solved that problem. And also by me doing my research helped for me to understand which questions to ask her. Because also I didn't want to be offensive, I just wanted to make sure that it was appropriate and it was exactly what she wanted. Awesome. Oh, and also that's something to think about when you are creating your deck. Now you see, this is how we can start to reverse engineer these types of publicity opportunities. That's what I'll call them. This is about you being your own deck publicist. So we can reverse engineer these publicity opportunities and start to think about certain things when we are still in the design phase. So for instance, with that reviewer who is very interested in doing a deck review, who lived in Spain, that had me think about how internationally friendly is my design. Are there lots of English words all over my cards that are necessary for its understanding? Or do I use things like numbers or Roman numerals? Or the list can go on and on and on. And this is an opportunity to just start thinking about where it is that your deck will end up. Do you want it to end up overseas, or do you want to just keep it in the US? Do you want people who speak different languages to be able to understand your deck without having to read it? Think about your booklet. Think about your booklet as well. This is this is an opportunity to really get the impact that you can have, and you can start in your concept and move forward from there. Awesome. So, as we continue to go through the etiquette of being with a YouTuber or an influencer, we've got 5 different outlets: Pinterest, IG, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. When you start to interact with these influencers, you also want to make it worth their while. Just as you put a lot of effort and energy and enthusiasm into your card deck design, you also understand that they're putting effort and energy and enthusiasm into their deck review. There are many, many ways to reciprocate this energy, and I'll give you one of them. One of them is to say thank you. There are many, many people who have their decks reviewed, and maybe it just slips their mind to actually reach back out. Well, one, to watch the review, not just to watch for sales. M says double whammy. To watch the review, comment, share. Oh, hold on. Okay? Just wait for a little while. Awesome. Are you just going outside, or do you need to go somewhere else?
Go outside.
Just outside?
And go to his house and swim.
Okay, go for it. Just next door. It's my stepson. He's so cute. Okay. So, yeah, watch the review. Like, watch it, see what they say. Maybe they give you some things to think about that can really, like, help continue to propel your design forward, or can help you improve. Watch it, comment, like it, subscribe if they have a profile that you can subscribe or follow. Become a fan and look at it that way. This will continue to give you insight as to how you can continue to make it worth their while. Maybe you give them a description that they can just copy and paste into their review, so they don't have to come up with all of the verbiage themselves. Maybe you give them a special link to use so that you know which people were referred to you from that particular reviewer. There's a whole bunch of things that you can uncover just by getting really present to the actual review and the work that they put in. You can continue to uncover how it is that you can make it worth their while as well. So you're saying thank you. Maybe you include something extra, in the package. Yes, I know. Maybe you gifted them that deck. And maybe it's just a handwritten note that says, I appreciate you and thank you in advance. So that's just some of the insight that we can talk about in terms of being your own deck publicist. I could go on and on and on and on and on. And as a matter of fact, I will. Because I've seen the magic that can happen from just one really great promo hit. There are deck reviews out there on YouTube and YouTube land that are still directing traffic to my websites and my Instagram profiles and all of the places that my decks are. Because it becomes a relationship. Like I said, you're developing your team. And you may not have expected your team to look like YouTubers with thousands of viewers or TikTokers who love to do deck reviews, but they are a part of your team. And this is how it can be done ideally. There's a word for this. It's called sustainable. This is your sustainable brand. And like we mentioned earlier, your legacy. So please take care of how it is that you are out in the world, how it is that you're representing this brand, how it is that you're putting forth this design, because you're impacting tons of people, tons of lives, tons of souls. Amazing. And when you find that sweet spot, that sweet, sustainable spot, like the sales are coming in, you're having all of these amazing conversations with people and influencers, you're meeting new people, that's when you can start thinking about how it is that you want to give back. And that's what I'm doing here today. I want to give all of this to you because I want to see you thrive. I have this phrase that I say every day, and that is, everybody wins. Everybody can win. There's billions of people on this earth. There are billions of people who may want to have your deck, but you won't know unless you get it out there. Thank you, Camellia. So, from that feeling of having a shipment of new decks come in and seeing how everyone's enjoying it and giggling at the comical details that you've designed, and then out there in social media land sharing it with thousands of other people at one time, that feeling is priceless. And that is what I call an impact. And that is what I want for you. So yes, there is a very specific way that I'll be sharing this information on how to be your own deck publicist. And that resource is only for people who are designing their deck and making plans for their debut and who actually want to get it out there. That's only for people that maybe you've designed your deck already. You don't really need the design part so much, but you want to talk about the promoting and the publishing part. And again, this is not for people who are just making copies for themselves and their friends and family. That's okay. There's an easy way to do that. We're talking about impacting the world. So there is a Be Your Own Deck Publicist mentorship. We meet bi-weekly and we talk about all of these strategies that you can use. We go into detail, as detailed as I got with you today, from what you write in an email and how you approach people and how you reverse engineer to make your product better and more impactful and easier for you to get out there and distribute. We will continue to talk about things like, did you know that there's a Kickstarter out there that was funded for a tarot deck that made over $1.3 million? Yeah, we're gonna dissect that puppy and go into all the different things that they use so that we can use them too. I've already started. There's also a roadmap to a 50K launch. People do it all the time. The do's and don'ts of being on social media with your deck. How to find like regular traditional press for your deck. I've even got a list of Facebook groups where you can go ahead and share what it is that you've designed. And I'm talking about groups where this is welcome. Because there's some groups that they don't really like that kind of sharing stuff. So going through and discerning which ones are good matches for you and which ones are not. How to go wholesale. How to get your deck into retailers. Talk about what's inside the package, your deck's package, that has people come back to you, that has customers return over and over again. Yeah, I bought it for myself and now I want to buy one for my sister and my mother-in-law. Like, there are very practical things that you can do to have loyal customers. And also lists of publishers. There's publishers out there Yep, Gina knows. Yep, Kristen knows too. Exactly. Exactly. These are all gifts to us so that we can all thrive. So publishers, what they're looking for, and also how to give them what they're looking for. There is a very specific resource from a very specific publisher that breaks it all down step by step. You don't have to have an agent. All you got to do is follow directions and read the instructions. There are tons of opportunities out there. Did you know, I'll even throw in another one here. Did you know that makeplayingcards.com, they have a marketplace? So if you happen to have your deck printed by them, you can also sell that same design in their marketplace without having to print any extra inventory. Jamie is an amazing person. I've learned a lot from her. Thank you for saying that, Kristen. I'll also be sharing some of my favorite reviewers and their contact information. So that way you can be in touch with people that I know and trust and love. And also, like we were saying, what it takes to get on Amazon and to thrive on Etsy. Been doing that too. And it's great. And it's right there. It's right there. And last but not least, but also what to do when others ask you to design for them. Now, this is a place where I've learned a lot. And also, I had made a lot of mistakes that I love to share, because they were priceless experiences that taught me so much. So how do you learn all of this? How do you get to hear about all of this and discuss all of this and get these resources? deckdesigninabox.com. Click on the orange button that says Be Your Own Publicist Mastermind. We'll meet every other week. We'll share, go through it step by step. Also in the mastermind, every month you get to check in with me on a consult, and we get to talk personally and see how it is that you're doing, how your promo is coming along, how it's going for you in being your own deck publicist. You can do this, and it doesn't take a lot of resources to have your deck blow up and end up being distributed by the thousands. It doesn't take that much at all. We already named 5 resources here in this masterclass, and there's tons more. Maybe these resources that we named earlier, maybe they don't resonate with you. Maybe there's another one that does. And we can explore that together. deckdesigninabox.com. Click on the orange button that says Be Your Own Deck Publicist Mastermind, and we'll do it together. We absolutely will. Now, if you asked the question at the beginning of this masterclass, I'm going to go back now and we will talk about them a little bit. If you can do me a favor, if you're here, copy and paste it into the chat, or just retype it so that it's at the bottom of the chat and I can see it and I can make sure that I get to it. And we'll stay on for another 5 or 10 minutes because I'd love to make sure that we get to your questions. Okay, like I said, my goal is to have everybody win. It's no fun having all the resources and no one to share them with. That's why I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for being here in this masterclass. Y'all's examples and all of your questions are having this come alive. And that's why it's a mastermind. Because we get to share with each other. We get to give feedback to each other. We get to learn from each other. Not only do we get to share information about what works, but let me tell you, it's priceless. Talking about what doesn't. got lots of that too. Saving that time and not making the same mistake as someone else just by being with other people and talking and sharing, like, wouldn't you think that it's worth it? Saving yourself from a mistake that could cost a lot of time or a lot of money or your reputation. Ugh. Let's talk about it. All right. Kristen says, what is a good website to promote your deck? So what we were talking about is, and there's a few different ways to go about that. We're talking about how you can reach out to other influencers and they can use their social media profiles in order to promote your deck. That's one really amazing and time-saving way to do that. In terms of websites, it's a little bit different because you have two kinds of websites. You have websites that are predicated on content about decks, whether it's tarot, oracle, affirmation, or any other kind of deck. They're talking about content to do with decks. So maybe like a blog, or maybe like a professional organization, or something like that. That's one kind of site. The other kind of site is an e-commerce site. So for instance, there is a resource out there, and Zozo, I saw you on there. What is the name of it? I think it's Indie Deck Hub. They've got like a collection of different indie decks, and they sell them. They have them available for retail purchase, and they pretty much make their site a hub for people to find indie decks. The only catch for that particular resource is that they only open up submissions very rarely. So you'd have to keep an eye on that website. But that's one possibility. One out of lots of possibilities. So like I said, we will, and I'll keep people updated on opportunities as they arise. Like, I keep my eye on that on that site. As soon as they open up, I'm letting everyone in the mastermind know. Same thing with press opportunities. It just so happens that I still maintain a lot of the resources that I did when I was a celebrity publicist back in the day. So I've got my eye on different publications. I've got my eye on different blogs. I've got my eye on different influencers who are now just getting into decks. I'm talking about like celebrities. I'm talking about like gifting opportunities and endorsements. These things still come across my desk. I just haven't severed them since I've been a publicist. And I'm like, duh, why don't we just use these opportunities for our card decks? Because they're products. Why not? You know what I mean? So it's when I had that light bulb moment was when I started to create this mastermind. Because it was just like a no-brainer. And like I said, for me, everybody wins. Amy says, how much is it to do this? The mastermind is monthly. You can stay in it for as long or as little as you would like. And it is $33 a month. That's it. Sell one deck. The profit from one deck will cover your mastermind. Were there any other questions? I want to make sure that we've got all the questions before we depart. Amy says, sold. Welcome. I can't wait. I can't wait to see you in there. It's going to be so much fun. Awesome. I'm just going to scroll through and see if I see any other questions, because everyone was so great today. Oh my gosh, this was so much fun to share all of this. And If you just came in at the end of this masterclass, I really advise you go back to the beginning, because Gina, Verlicia, and Kristen shared some stuff that really opened our eyes in an exercise of how we can put on a different lens in thinking about our decks and the value of viewing it as a product. We're product creators, y'all. Awesome. I don't see any other questions. And, let's see. Amy says, also, I have a friend that I want to connect you to. I totally want to work with you. You have a beautiful, clear, and calming energy. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You all know that you can message me anytime, right? I am your friend in card deck designing. This is what I love to do. Not only design, but share how we can all thrive together. Amazing, amazing. Awesome. All right, so if you have any questions that weren't answered here in the masterclass, send me a message. And let's see, you could send me a message, you can send me an email, however it is that you can find me. Join the mastermind. It's going to be awesome. deckdesigninAbox.com, and I will catch y'all soon. Thank you for being here. Mwah.